Welcome to Startup TV Boston. My name is Michael McCarthy, and I'd like to welcome my guests, Yunren and Chiti Mehta.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Glad
Welcome.
to be here.
I'm the teaching assistant for the Entrepreneurship and Innovation class at Harvard Extension School, and Yunren and Chiti are students in the class this year, and your group is called iStrong.
That's correct.
Tell us a little bit about what iStrong is.
So iStrong is an idea that we developed in class as one of our class projects, but then it evolved into a viable business plan that we are getting some really good, overwhelming response for. It's actually a product that we developed. It's a food and healthy food product that we developed for kids in vulnerable situations to cope with malnutrition. That's a nutshell.
Nice. And I do know you happen to come runner-up second place for the $1 million Hult Prize at Harvard University just a few weeks ago.
That's right.
So for those in the audience who aren't familiar, the Hult Prize is the largest prize for social entrepreneurship initiatives in the United States. It's $1 million, winner take all, and it's a three-step process. The first process is there are contests campus-wide throughout the world, and I was the host for the Harvard University, and we had 29 teams who signed up to compete. iStrong came in second place, and I'm curious, your group is helping vulnerable populations, and the Hult Prize this year was to help 10 million refugees by the year 2022. And that's really looking for help in vulnerable populations. So I'm curious, Yunren, what's your background in helping vulnerable populations?
I'm originally from Mongolia, and back in my country I used to work in a United Nations Population Fund, and I was lucky to work with people in countryside and vulnerable populations like women and children, and in capacity of developing policies and programs intended to expand their health services and social services. So related to this project, I had some work done with children who are under age 5 to help the regional offices and clinics and schools to bring nutritional foods to kids of this age.
So on the nutrition side, with the children that you've seen in Mongolia, what do the children need?
Basically, Mongolia is has cold winters and very hot summers. So, and there is not much agriculture in the country. So, kids don't have access to fresh vegetables, and there is not much like agriculture developed in overall. So, they lack in basic fresh fruits and vegetables.
So no fresh fruits and vegetables.
Yes.
What do they have to eat?
So we used to export more. Now there is a government policy to bring more like own grown vegetables, and it's basically porridge and other fortified pre-made food for young age kids.
Okay. And what's your experience with vulnerable populations or interest in them?
I would say I don't have much experience with the vulnerable population, but I have been born and brought up in India. So I have been around the vulnerable population. And in India, 70% of the Indian population belongs in the rural area. So growing up, I've seen a lot of kids especially being hungry, dying out of hunger and malnutrition. And there's nothing parents can do because of lack of income or lack of awareness or lack of just resources for healthcare in certain regions of India. That said, when I moved to America, that was 10 years ago, I started getting involved in a lot of NGO-related work. And my background is in finance, so I used to help out, being a treasury, doing their taxes for some of these NGOs that are based in Africa. So,
and for our studio audience, what is an NGO, and what does that mean?
It's a nonprofit organization that is a charity organization or organization that helps vulnerable populations and is developed with a cause.
I see.
Yes.
So this is your NGO.
I don't think we are a nonprofit. Coming from a business background, I always feel like a business has to be for profit, because that's how you can strive the employees to grow in the business, make income for them and also the population around. So I feel like our project is for profit. I would consider it as a social venture.
So this is social entrepreneurship.
This is,
doing
yes.
well and doing good at the same
Yes.
time.
Right.
So I'm curious to listen to your project, because you came in second among a very large field of competitors. Could we take a look at your pitch and have the studio audience participate?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, let's begin.
Meet Adi. She's 4 years old and lives in Atme Syrian camp. Isn't she cute? But look at her closely. Her lips are bitten, her eyes are filled with sorrow and despair, and her hands are risen out of fear. She's so scarred by the war that she looks into the camera lens believing it's a weapon and raises her hands. She's just 4 years old. Today, there are 20 million refugees in this world, of which 50% of them are children just like Adi, who have lost everything. That makes up to be 10 million refugee kids in this world. These kids have lost everything, but the most important thing is that they are deprived of the most basic necessity, that is clean, hygienic, fortifying, and nourishing food. By the time we're done with this 6-minute pitch, approximately 30 children would have died out of malnutrition. That's a lot. This is what's provided to the kids in refugee camps today. Porridge. We all know what that is. But the problem with that is that it requires some kind of a mixing agent like water, and it requires to be cooked. And some of these camps don't even have proper drinking water. So it can actually backfire in the form of diarrhea or other illnesses that kids may be susceptible to. Peanut paste. It's a complete package. You can eat it right out of the packet. But the problem with that is that research suggests that a child needs to drink enough water to overcome dehydration after consuming this. Last but not the least, there are products like micronutrient powders that are highly fortifying, but they require some kind of a mixing agent, and because they're heavily medicated, they require strict supervision of some guardian or a mother for the kid to be fed. That means that a child's wellness and health is highly dependent on a third party, and the third party's awareness of health education. Last but not the least, it's just the unacceptable taste of these products that we saw that just doesn't appeal to the kids. Therefore, it's hard to feed them these products even in war or in conditions like dire conditions like poverty and hunger. Our solution is very simple. We provide fruits and vegetables that are naturally sourced in the form of fruit and veggie roll-ups. Kids across US love fruit roll-ups. They're highly nutritious if made in the right way. They're fun and colorful. And parents know that it's the best way to get the children get their portion of fruits and vegetables for the day. So then why deprive these refugee kids from the same pleasure? iStrong is a unique blend of highly fortified micronutrients and macronutrients that provides daily essentials to a vulnerable kid to cope with malnutrition. But most importantly, there are 5 main benefits we get out of iStrong. The first, that it's a complete package, doesn't require a mixing agent, so you can eat it right off the packet. Second, it's a kids-friendly product because it's naturally sourced. It requires very to little minimal supervision. It is shelf stable. That means it can travel in cold and hot climate. Has a shelf life of more than 1 year. And the most important one, it's tasty and fun for the kids. Almost like a fun, nourishing toy for the kids to play with. We will manufacture iStrong in 2 stages. The first stage will be that we will partner up with gold standard co-packers established in India who will manufacture our product. This will enable us with 2 benefits. One is that we can get the ball running as soon as we decide to commercialize this product. Secondly, we can make iterations to our product before we go out and start selling it. Once we have gotten our product approved by certified NGOs, we will then manufacture iStrong in-house. There are 2 ways we're going to make this business model scalable and cost-effective. One, by implementing solar-powered dryers, and 2, by manufacturing our product in India. We will establish solar-powered dryers in close proximity to the farmers in India. We will then sell iStrong to highly established NGO networks who will then distribute our product to kids directly, as well as to other agencies like schools and healthcare providers. We see iStrong having multi-facet qualities. One, that it can be used by healthcare providers as a reward for kids to comply with their regular vaccinations and daily healthcare checkups. And second, iStrong can also be proven as a food aid for a kid in malnutrition because it has all the daily essentials of macro and micronutrients that a kid needs to grow and strive in the world. This is a world map, and the highlighted regions are the ones that are affected by refugees and other violent conflicts. The larger the circles here in the region, the bigger the impact. And as you can see, Middle Eastern region and African region are the biggest impacted areas with refugees. From a financial perspective, we believe that the first 2 years will be very challenging for us. We expect to be having negative earnings, and that's because we will be anticipating some higher marketing and distribution cost to scale our product, as well as we will be outsourcing our product to a co-packer. Therefore, we expect our cost of production to be slightly higher than usual. But starting year 3, since we will be insourcing our product, we believe that we will gain economies of scale, and also our low cost of production will enable us to get some positive earnings. And by year 2022, we do definitely plan to target 10 million refugee kids and serve them to cure malnutrition. That said, together we have approximately 40 years of experience in different areas of businesses, from public health to IT to product design and just business operations. Hence, together as a team, we have an unwavering passion and dedication to pursue this business idea. And together, our mission is to restore the mind, body, and soul of 10 million refugee children by 2022.
Very nice. Thank you for the presentation. So question for you, Yunren. If the children that you served in Mongolia could have one of these fruit and veggie roll-ups, what do you think that they would think of them compared to what they're already eating now?
You mean in the past?
If you could give a fruit roll-up to the children that you helped years ago.
That will be such a different picture, because this product has twofold of benefit. First is it's very nutritious, and second is very fun and tasty for kids. And that's why if kids see this, they will be really excited, and it will help them to grow, and the growth stunt will be prevented, and it will enable their body and mind fully grow to their potential. And I see it as a very good route to go to enable these kids to be very well educated, healthy, and also it will help economy.
So it's an interesting idea. However, the Hult $1 million prize is to help 10 million refugees, and this is a child's product. So why are you focused on children?
We are focused on children because there are approximately 65 million people displaced in this world. Out of them, 20 million are refugees. But like we mentioned, 50% of them are children. So that's a huge market. And when these children are not provided the proper nutrition that they need, you're talking about a whole loss of one generation in a sense. Because if these children are not given the proper nutrition, they won't grow up to be able to contribute to the economy in general. So they're going to be a burden not only to themselves and their families, but also to the economy in essence. So we were just looking at some of the work that US is doing right now, and hundreds of millions of dollars are spent each year just trying to provide healthcare services to these refugee population, and that's only by US alone. And since 2006, I believe, there's been a rise of like 10 to 20% increase in the cost of spendings in medical care. So what we're trying to provide here is a prevention. And we all know prevention is better than cure. So we're trying to go down to the root cause and trying to see how we can basically cut the cord where these kids are given proper nutrition so that they can strive in the world independently without depending on other parties.
So right now there's 20 million refugees in the world, and half of them are children.
Half of them are children, yes.
Wow. How did you come up with the idea?
It's been evolving, We started off thinking it's just another project that we'll do. But then as we got into it, like I said, our team is so passionate about it. We're lucky to have found each other in class. But we initially wanted to do something for developing countries. So we started off with discussing what are the shelf-stable ways of providing, naturally sourced fruits and vegetables. How can we transform them so that the whole idea of the issue with shelf-stable in some of these regions can be overcome? And some of the developing countries today actually have a problem with cold storage facilities. So a lot of production that happens in India as well, 40% of the production post-harvest goes to waste. So there were a lot of aspects to it that we wanted to capture the shelf-stable piece. Like we wanted our product to be shelf-stable. We wanted our product to be easily, to be appealing. And basically, we wanted our product to be available to the vulnerable population. And that was always our goal from the very get-go. So this turned out to be a one-day thing. We were working on a different idea to solve the same issue, but with a lot of brainstorming, we just came up with this, hey, simple solution sometimes helps. So we thought, why not just, use fruit roll-ups or vegetable roll-ups that kids already love in some of these developed countries? Why can't we introduce something like this to developing nations?
So when you talk about the health issues, could you use these fruit roll-ups for health compliance, which is a nice way of saying, could you bribe a kid to go get their vaccinations in exchange for getting a fruit roll-up, or bribe them to go to school or to do healthy habits? Can you use this as a bribe?
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely, because it's very appealing to their look. It's very colorful, and they can play with it, have fun while consuming it, and we can definitely bribe them.
We see that happening.
Come to clinics.
Yeah.
Now I have a question about obviously cost is going to be an issue. It needs to be as cheap as possible because we're not talking about a wealthy population. Is there a way that you could possibly get your base ingredients at a discount or free? Do you think there's any way that you could possibly do that?
Yes, that's what we're aiming for, and that's the reason why we want to manufacture this product in India. And there are two reasons for it. One is that the cost of production is low, and second, in India. And second, like I said, 40% of the post-harvest fruits and vegetables in India go to waste because of the lack of cold storage facilities available. That means that a farmer actually throws away a lot of his produce just because it's either ripe or it's about to get spoiled. So that's why our strategy is to manufacture build our solar plants very in close proximity to multiple farmers, so we can have long-term partnership with them. That's how we plan to basically buy or maybe buy their produce at a very discounted rate, or even get it at cheap, get it for free, because they're anyways going to throw it away. We're going to take that produce and then manufacture it in-house. And since we're using technology in a very close proximity to the farmers, we will be able to make sure that the fruit or vegetable doesn't get spoiled before we manufacture it. So we're immediately going to start manufacturing the fruits and vegetables into what we want to achieve.
So the basic idea is you call up the farmer and say, do you have anything that is ripe right now, it's about to go spoiled, you have no chance of selling it,
right?
And we'll just come pick it up for free.
Exactly.
Absolutely, yeah.
So basically they might give it to you for free because you're hauling it away for free, as opposed to them having to spend the money to compost it or do something else with it.
Yes.
So that could definitely reduce your cost by a huge amount.
Yes, the food cost.
Interesting. So specifically, what would you say your disruptive solution is with the whole idea? How do you think this is disruptive in solving the refugee crisis?
I will say my part, and then you maybe can add in.
Yeah.
But I think that there's a myth that a healthy product is not tasty. So for us, as iStrong, as a social for-profit venture, we consider that vulnerable population as our own customer. So we're not giving away a product as if they're pity. We're catering to their needs, and currently their needs is to give them something that's more dignified, that a normal person eats. Give them the chance to get that, So a fruit roll-up is it's for the privileged people. I don't think a fruit roll-up or a vegetable roll-up is something that a person in developing country would know of. So it's almost like giving them the opportunity, giving them the kids the opportunity to try something that's tasty, but it also cures the underlying problem that is malnutrition.
And have you considered, this would be something that any child would want. Children in the United States who pay retail prices for fruit roll-ups. Have you considered charging two prices, having a expensive retail price product in the United States that would subsidize the lower priced product in India?
Yes, we have. That's actually a possibility. We have definitely considered it. In fact, we've considered selling our product in developing countries to the wealthy population, because we can pretty much sell them the product, and with whatever with whatever earnings we get, we can actually sell one. So it's almost like buy our product and we'll donate one to a certain group. Kind
of like what Tom Shoes does.
Right.
So you'd pay, let's say you have a $2 nicely packaged fruit roll-up for wealthy people, and say, if you buy this, we're going to donate one to a refugee child, and that would get, let's say, a plain packaging, something less expensive.
Right.
Because the important part's what's inside.
Exactly.
And you're basically subsidizing.
Right. And it's funny because malnutrition can be both ways. It can be, you can be underweight or you can be overweight. And a person is malnourished when you're overweight too. So and that's the whole trend we are seeing in India right now, is that with urbanization, urban population has a lot of residual income to spend, so they've started eating out. So a lot of children there, the growing up children in urban areas, are actually obese. So obesity has become a very big issue in India. And I'm sure that's the trend we are seeing in a lot of other developing countries. So we feel like this product that we are selling to malnourished kids in refugee population, it can be served as a malnourishment for these overweight and obese kids as well. Of course, the formulation will change.
Just to add to this point, we know that there are similar products available here, but these products contain high amount of corn syrup or animal-derived collagen in form of gelatin, taste boosters, and color enhancers. And our product, in sharp contrast, won't have those artificial stuff. So it also will prevent the other side of malnutrition, which is overweight.
Right.
Yeah.
So your food is going to be food.
It's going to be, so whatever you see on the label is what you're going to eat. So
Yes.
whatever you see on the label, that's exactly what's going to go into your stomach, and it's not going to be anything that you don't understand. It's all naturally sourced ingredients.
Understood. And so what are your current challenges with the product? I mean, every project has a
Sure.
challenge. What's your current challenge? What do you lose sleep over right now?
Our product's in concept stage, and since none of us 4 members worked before in like a private business enterprise, and also directly with building up nutrition products, so we in need for experienced child nutritionists to add to our team.
Right. And I think to her point, she made out a very good point, because we need a child nutritionist who has worked in these NGOs to come partner up with us, either as an advisor or as a person part of our team, because through her or him, we will be able to crack through some of the NGO networks, because that's another challenge that we feel is cracking through the NGO network, and gaining their trust to be able to sell our product to them.
Well, the good news is you're in Boston, so you could always see Walter Willett over at Harvard University. There's also Tufts has their own nutrition school.
Yes.
I think between those 2 schools, you would probably find even a graduate student that would be happy to volunteer their time for you.
Yes, we've actually talked to a couple of people here in Boston, but also some NGO child nutritionists back in India. So we're already in talks with some of the child nutritionists back in India who is working with UNESCO and UNICEF and working in rural population in India.
Good.
Yeah.
So let's say that you actually win the Hult Prize, and I've seen the finalists from last year. You're definitely in the running and qualified to win.
Thank you.
If you get the $1 million, how would you use the $1 million?
Our strategy is to use it as much as possible. So I think 30 to 40% of our of the investment will go into selling and marketing cost, including the distribution, because we think that the NGOs may have a lot of budget cuts. They're always under budget constraints. So it feels like in order for us to gain a long-term relationship with these certified organizations, we would need to serve them. We would need to use a lot of our investment money in customer acquisition. So almost like taking up the distribution cost on our heads, and trying to create a good credibility of our brand, and all that will require funding. And 30 to 40% of our funding that we get from the Hult Prize will go into marketing, selling, and distribution. We think that our capital investment and our cost of production is going to be very low, so we don't see an issue there. The beast is going to be the marketing piece, to spread the word.
Understood. Well, I think it's going to be money well spent, and I wish you good luck.
Thank you.
I hope you make it to the second round.
Thank you
So
Thank
thank
you
you
so
for being
much.
on the show, and we hope to have you back, because we want to see the project succeed. So could we have you back in about 6 months and see where you are?
Yeah.
Yes,
we
we hope
thank you.
so. Thank you so much for all the
Great.
good luck.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
you.
Take care.
Thank you.